kwitaba umukiriya kiriya biteze
ariko tayi aho gusoreza imyenda wibereye kuri telefone kweli
ariko ni kuwa mbere nawe wagwa wango uracyari wose icyo nakubwiraga wa muntu niko ye umuntu w'umugabo ku bukwe bwe akambara kositimu itukura iciye n'amaboko noneho none se uyisuza
si wombwiye ngo ngwemo se
ntabwo ari ibintu avugaga
kuwa mbere kanda akanyenyeri 345 akanyenyeri 2 urwego maze nawe ugwemo. Wikwisondeka.
A very good evening and thank you for joining me for RTV News. My name is William Evans. Let's have a look at the headlines. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, has revealed that there is growing hope due to the political will recently demonstrated by DRC government to address the security crisis through peaceful dialogue. Also, Rwanda has announced that its readiness to collaborate with all parties to find a lasting solution to the insecurity in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the region through dialogue frameworks established by the East African Community and the South African Development Community. On the international scene, a billionaire Man United co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe claims the club has come off the reefs after a £1.3 billion stake acquisition. Again, many thanks for joining me. I am William Evans. Let's kick off tonight's story with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, stated that there is a growing hope due to political will recently demonstrated by the Democratic Republic government to address the security crisis through peaceful dialogue. Adams Kwizera kicks us off tonight.
The AFC M23 reports announcement regarding the repositioning of its forces from Walikale in support of ongoing peace initiatives, as well as DR Congo's declaration that all offensive operations by FARDC and Wazalendo groups will be halted. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, stated that this demonstrates the developing hope in finding lasting solution.
This brings hope that the EAC and SADC processes will be actively pursued to facilitate direct peace talks between the DRC and M23. You may have heard our counterpart, the DRC Minister of Foreign Affairs, emphasize in a press conference in Kinshasa their commitment to engaging in direct dialogue with the M23. This signals a growing possibility that these peace processes will be given the space to progress.
Minister Nduhungirehe called on countries and international community to support the peace processes established by the EAC and SADC rather than imposing sanctions that undermine their civil.
The countries that impose such sanctions, rather than contributing to resolving the crisis, undermine the efforts of the peace process we are pursuing. We urge them to allow us to achieve peace if they are not willing or capable of supporting the initiatives aimed at addressing the Eastern DRC security crisis.
In announcements and speeches, members of DRC governments are no longer including hate speech or accusing Rwanda of supporting the M23 rebels. Minister Nduhungirehe says this reassuring development aligning with efforts to finding a solution to the crisis.
As you may have heard, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of DRC stated that DRC is ready to engage in direct talks with AFC/M23, which gives us hope.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs also announced that on Monday, March 24, 2025, the EAC SADC heads of state to discuss the security situation in Eastern DRC. They will also review the resolutions from the last ministerial meeting held in Harare, Zimbabwe. Adams Kwizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams Kwizera. Now, Rwanda has announced its readiness to collaborate with all parties to find a lasting solution to the insecurity in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the region through dialogue frameworks established by the East African Community and the South African Development Community. Regional political analysts believe that the dialogue remains the most viable way to solve the security crisis in the DRC. The Congolese government's decision to engage in talks with M23 rebel group, which has now marked 16 years of existence, is seen as an inevitable step for Kinshasa and its partners. DRC's foreign minister has announced that the government is ready for direct negotiations with M23, which would be followed by a ceasefire agreement, and analysts expect this move, especially after the Doha meeting between Rwandan President Paul Kagame and the Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi. However, it has also been noted that while Kinshasa's willingness to negotiate is a step forward, implementing these talks could be difficult as the Congolese government continues to hunt down M23's leaders. On Saturday, M23 announced its withdrawal from the Wachikale territory, a move seen by analysts as a demonstration of good faith towards peace talks, and Rwanda also welcomes this step, as well as Kinshasa's decision to halt military operations by the Congolese army and the Wazalendo militia against M23. In an official statement issued on Sunday, Rwanda reaffirmed its support for regional peace efforts. Dialogue between DRC government and M23 has remained the most promising path towards a sustainable solution to the decade-long instability in eastern DRC. Now, moving on to matters religious, the Anglican Diocese of Shongwe has officially welcomed a new bishop, Kabayiza Louise, replacing Dr. Jared Karimba, who had led the diocese for 27 years. Local residents are calling on churches to expand development projects alongside evangelism, while the government urges religious leaders to contribute to the fight against misleading doctrines. The consecration and installation ceremony for Bishop Kabayiza brought together a large congregation, religious leaders, and other stakeholders. Bishop Kabayiza highlighted his extensive experience in education as a key asset that will help advance the diocese's mission. The Rwandan government has been working to regulate religious organizations, addressing past issues of disorderly operations that hinder development and social welfare. The Minister of Local Government, Dr. Patrice Mugenzi, reiterated the call for religious leaders to play an active role in combating misleading teachings. Bishop Kabayiza reaffirmed that the Anglican Diocese of Shongwe prioritizes faith that transforms lives, including efforts to address false doctrines. The diocese operates in 4 districts of the southern province, with the latest figures indicating membership of 24,164 Christians across 39 parishes. Plans are underway to establish more 9 parishes at the archdeaconry level. To more news, patients traveling from various provinces to receive cancer treatment from Kanombe Hospital report that the existence of a center offering them shelter, meals, and comfort has restored their hope for life, including those that had given up on recovery. We do have a report. Manishimwe Janet from Ngororero district is one of those suffering from skin cancer. She came to seek treatment at Kanombe Hospital, feeling hopeless about her recovery. Upon arrival, she pondered how she would manage to stay in Kigali for a month without family support. She was then referred to Bethania Home Care, where she was provided with accommodation, meals, and emotional support. She is almost making 3 years without cancer and has found work at the center to help care for other patients. They used to give me transport fees to and from the hospital, meals, accommodation, and a lot more. That time, I was given 30 days, meaning I could not afford staying away, yet I had to attend to the hospital for treatment and checkups. So, this center was so much helpful. Residents there indicate that prior to this facility, they would come for cancer treatment at Kanombe Hospital, but often lacked a place to stay, which made their situation even more disheartening.
At first I
carried a few saucepans to help me prepare something for myself. After some doctors got to know about my struggles, they promised to talk to the leadership of this center, which later accommodated me and offered me all the support I needed. They give us breakfast, lunch and supper, accommodation, and also take good care of us. This place literally restored my hope, and I am grateful to the leadership of this center. Above all, I am grateful to our father, the President, His Excellency Paul Kagame, for bringing cancer treatment into our country, and now we can access this treatment within our country instead of going abroad. The leader of Bethania Home Care, Sister Helen Katabira, says that the government provided these facilities to enable them carry out charitable work, particularly for those suffering from cancer, as many are often left destitute by their illness.
We are just doing some supports, giving food, giving accommodation, and transport to Kanombe and counseling. That's what we are providing. There is a lot one can give for one who is really having this problem of cancer. First of all, you have to show that tenderness. You have to show that is a human being. You have to come closer. You have to talk to them. You have to feed them as what we are doing here. And cleanness. You have seen our environment. It has to be clean. There is other disease which can really attack this center, so it has to be clean. Maybe you could also ask, how do you maintain this cleanness? It needs a lot of efforts, I can say. But that is our spirit. It has to be clean. It has to be. We have to be closer to this patient to give hope. And these people have hope. Think that they can be cured. And I can tell you, among these 225 up to now, among them, they are saying they are cured. When they come for control, they say, okay, you can take another 1 year. We just see that you are doing well. I think that we have to work together. You see, people, when they are really working together, they can reach, they can do a lot. They can do a lot. Imagine if the community of Rwanda and the Christian, even those who are not a Christian, by the way, even the Muslim, they do come here and they bring something. So we are not limited to the Christian, even the other dominations, they may come and they assist. So it's a call for the Rwandan to know that we have this center, that we have really people who are really poor in the community, suffering with their cancer. They're really vulnerable, I can say, yes. As I said before, when you take all this time, these people really suffering with cancer, they have sold all what they have. They became poor because of this disease, yeah? So who will help? It is we Rwandan. It is we Rwandan. Think of our neighbors, our aunties, our uncles, our father, our mothers who are really suffering. We can't continue just closing our eyes as if we don't see them. Let us see. Whoever will hear this voice, let him or her make a step and come and see and think of what he can do to let this facility continue working well.
Over 200 cancer patients have passed through this center, which has been operating for more than 2 years. This week, they celebrated the International Patients Day, where benefactors provided food, clothing, money, and other essentials to support these cancer patients. Now let's continue our bulletin to the eastern province, where Mukachibibi Zainab, a farmer from the Musha sector in the Rwanda district, says that she has discovered a fruit that can be grown on all the hills of Rwanda, which is rich in nutrients and capable of withstanding harsh climate. We do have a report. Fruits are cultivated using seedlings that are kept in a nursery for 2 months before being planted in the fields, where it begins to produce fruits after 1 year. Once they start producing fruits, they yield 3 times a year, up to 45 years. Zainab Mukachibibi, who initiated dragon farming in Musha sector of Rwamagana district, expressed her desire to address the issue of fruit shortages and the impact of climate change.
I wanted to solve a problem of not getting enough fruits in Rwanda. As you know, we get fruits from abroad. So Every time we go to the market, we don't find the fruits that we want, or we find the international fruits. And in this case, people pay taxes for the fruits, maybe. And I want Rwandans to have the advantage of having fruits in Rwanda.
Those who have found work in this farming venture say it is advancing their lives since they work throughout the planting seasons. Before we worked and got paid according to the seasons, but now we work all through and get paid every month. In her first harvest, Mukachi Bibi Zainab collected 300 kilograms, and she says if she secures enough land and market for her produce, she could expand her farming from 2 hectares to a level where high yield would satisfy a juice factory and other products made from these fruits.
I want the government of Rwanda to give us a big land so that we can be able to grow more fruits, and then they can be affordable to the local people. And it's really good to help someone so that we can get enough fruits at the market, and then at the end we can be able to also go international and then export. It's going to be good for all of us. Yeah.
Dragon fruits resemble pineapples and are unique in that they last long without spoiling because of their skin structure and the use of organic fertilizers in cultivation. These fruits are rich in vitamin C, magnesium, vitamin B, and other nutrients that help the skin and other parts of the body maintain resilience.
Ngiye icyo mbaza ni kimwe koko hari umuntu ugihagarara ku nyama muri iki gihe koko buretse nitaba umukiriya kiriya biteze
ariko tayi aho kusoreza imyenda wibereye kuri telefone kweli
ariko ni kuwa mbere nawe wagwa wamo uracyari wose icyo nakubwiraga wa muntu niko ye umuntu w'umugabo ku bukwe bwe akambara kositimu itukura iciye n'amaboko noneho none se uyisuza
si wombwiye ngo ngwe muse
ntabwo ari ibi navugaga
kuwa mbere kanda akanyenyeri 345 akanyenyeri 2 urwego maze nawe ugwemo. Wikwisondeka.
Of course, welcome back from that very short break. Now let's continue our news with international news. And on the international scene, at the 9th annual commemoration of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War of the International Peace NGO known as Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Light, held across 93 countries around the globe, a significant step towards Korean Peninsula unification was taken with the launch of the Preparation Committee for the Peaceful Unification of the Korean Peninsula. The HWPL, headquartered in South Korea, organized the event under the theme Building Bridges for Korean Reunification, establishing legal and practical frameworks for peace. The event drew about 1,000 domestic and international leaders, outlining a comprehensive plan for nationwide peace and unification initiatives. On Sunday, an anniversary ceremony was also held in Osaka, Japan, where approximately 80 peace activists, citizens, and HWPL members gathered to express their wish for achieving global peace. Since its proclamation back in March 2016, the DPCW has been at the center of HWPL's annual commemorative event aiming at institutionalizing peace. The HWPL plans to expand peace initiatives actively in Japan and strengthen collaboration with various organizations and individuals to advance international peace efforts. In more international news, Sir Jim Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the billionaire and co-owner of Manchester United, has said that the football club has come off the rails. The 72-year-old spent £1.3 billion buying a 29% stake in the club last year in a deal which saw Ineos take control of the football operations, and Ratcliffe, a long-life Manchester United fan, is the chairperson of a petrochemical company which has a big sport investment arm. BBC has more on this.
His arrival at Old Trafford was meant to spark a revival, but with Sir Jim Ratcliffe at the helm, Manchester United's decline has continued. Despite a new manager, the team is suffering its worst Premier League season. The fans venting their anger amid a hike in ticket prices and hundreds of job cuts. And today the British billionaire told me how he now feels about his first year of co-ownership.
The nature of the challenge is what we thought it would be, but the scale of it probably is slightly bigger.
Do you understand those fans' anger?
I sympathise with them because Manchester United is not where it's expected to be. I am prepared to be, and I can deal with being unpopular for a period of time. Manchester United has come off the rails. We need to get it back on the rails, and I believe what we're doing will put it back on the rails.
With United £1 billion in debt and amid hundreds of millions of losses in recent years, Ratcliffe's Ineos hierarchy has hiked the cost of tickets, instigated hundreds of redundancies and ended some staff perks.
Many would argue that, again, the money you're going to save is dwarfed by interest repayments on player salaries and signings, on decisions around managers and executives.
I mean, the simple answer is the club runs out of money at Christmas if we don't do that, if we don't do those things. What we want to do is invest in the best players in the world, if we can, rather than spend it on, I'm afraid, free lunches.
Is there a danger that you cross the line between efficiency and ruthlessness?
You know, this period of change is uncomfortable for people, and some of the decisions we have to make are unpleasant, but they are necessary.
But what of the decision to back and sack former manager Eric Ten Hag and then hire and fire ex-sporting director Dan Ashworth, costing tens of millions of pounds?
Ultimately, there were errors. I accept that, and I apologise for that.
With an ageing Old Trafford in need of investment, Ratcliffe's hoping his plans for a new stadium answers some of the critics.
You were seen as a saviour for the club by many fans,
Yep.
but now a lot of them also see Ineos as part of the problem.
I think it will become the most profitable club in the world. We may well finish up with the most iconic football stadium in the world, and I think we will finish up winning silverware again.
With the club languishing 14th in the table, Ratcliffe has backed manager Ruben Amorim, but had this to say about some of the players he inherited.
Some are not good enough, some probably are overpaid, but for us to mould the squad that we are fully responsible for and accountable for will take time.
Ratcliffe seems determined to pull off what's become one of sport's great challenges, but after a bruising first year, convincing the fans will not be easy. Dan Rowan, BBC News.
And now, that report has brought us to the end of tonight's edition, but of course, before we go, let's have a look at the headlines one more time. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, has revealed that there is a growing hope due to the political will recently demonstrated by the DRC government to address security crisis through peaceful dialogue, while Rwanda has announced its readiness to collaborate with all parties to find a lasting solution to the insecurity in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the region through dialogue frameworks established by the East African Community and the South African Development Community. On the international scene, billionaire Man United co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe claims club has come off the rails after a £1.3 billion stake acquisition. And now that is it for tonight's edition. Until next time, I'm William Evans, wishing you all the best. Good night.